Welcome to CPX Cyber Bytes. I'm your host, Juliet Nichols, and today's episode is titled Fortifying the Foundation, Securing Critical Infrastructure and OT, and for good reason. Behind every modern nation runs a complex web of critical infrastructure: power grids, water systems, transportation networks, manufacturing plants. These systems, powered by operational technology, or OT, are the very foundation of how we live, work, and thrive. But with this importance comes risk. As cyber threats evolve, the need to secure OT environments has never been more urgent. Today, we're diving deep into why OT cybersecurity matters, the unique challenges it brings, the innovations reshaping the space, and how global collaboration plays a vital role in keeping our most essential systems safe. Joining me are three experts: Faisal Albousi, the Cybersecurity Director at ENEC, Saqib Chaudhry, the Field CISO at CPX, and Karim Benslimane, the VP of Cyber Intelligence from Darktrace. So to kick us off, Saqib, tell us a little bit more about what operational technology actually is for people who maybe don't know.
So if you want to put a little bit of humor into it, OT is like IT, but for non-carpeted work environments. So if you consider IT as the enterprise brain, what I mean by that is you're dealing with data processing, communications, planning. Consider OT as the muscles that manages and does the heavy lifting and managing controls into industrial control systems that are responsible for ensuring that equipment in factories, equipment in your water treatment plants, equipment at the airports, in healthcare, your energy, oil and gas, they operate at full capacity, and any sort of disruptions are proactively monitored and handled in best way possible.
Okay, now we understand what OT actually is. Karim, will you tell us a little bit more about the risks involved and why it's so important?
Yeah, sure. Because as Saqib mentioned, OT is everywhere now and drive our life in his highly connected world. So we cannot live without OT. From a transportation point of view, power utilities, if something happens, we will have direct side effect in our life, including safety issue. So this is why we move from a big revolution from an analog world where everything under the OT was not managed by a computer to a world where everything is managed by a computer and putting obviously a lot of risk if something happened from a cyber disruption.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So Faisal, bringing it to you, are there any other unique challenges that really make this OT different to IT security?
Yeah, in addition to what Karim he mentioned, that if I will take little bit 2,000 feet level is the resiliency of the OT. OT is actually is the mechanical communication where the IT equipment within the OT will communicate to some of the field system to actuate or to do some mechanical open the valve, close the valve, monitor the pressure. The resiliency here is very crucial to maintain the safe and operation of that utility, whether you're talking about the power treatment, train signal, or any of the OT industry. So resiliency in terms of continuing the business. The challenge here is, if I will go a little bit now to the technical level, that okay, one of the aspects on the resiliency or to maintain the resiliency is to have a backup of those systems. When you have an event, you have a backup. You can have a backup that it will support you to restore your business. But having a backup, what about restoration? So did you test the restoration of that backup? So that it's a challenge currently to resiliency when it comes to the risk, and how the OEM are innovating some different ideas, not only to take backup on the IT system on the OT, also on the sensor level to ensure the resiliency.
Thank you so much. Karim, we're hearing a lot about trusted advisors in the world of OT. What is a trusted advisor and what makes them so important?
So for me, I have a very layman simple definition. OT is a specific animal. You cannot come and tag yourself and name yourself as the OT advisor because it's something that you didn't learn in school. You really need to understand what is OT, as Faisal mentioned, to be able to advise professional in the best way, including, as I mentioned, the safety risk. Because compared to the IT, if an IT infrastructure is compromised, obviously it's a big issue from a brain impact or financial losses from a production point of view. But regarding the risk, when an OT is compromised, we can have obviously some physical injuries and a massive issue. And in 2025, unfortunately, because of this geopolitics and warfare, you don't need anymore to invade a country. Sorry. So just targeting of a country and targeting the OT power utilities of a country, it's like a cyber war. And the reason why you have to understand that in the first place to become a real and great advisor.
There's so much passion coming through from all three of you. I really love it. So Saqib, bringing it back to you. What innovations, approaches, what about the world of OT really excites you about working in it?
So I think there are a couple of aspects. First of all, the challenge, right? So you're always on your toes. You're always thinking about ways to ensure resiliency. You're always on your toes to figure out how can we stay ahead of the emerging threats. And then, like Karim mentioned, a lot of the countries have now declared cyber as either the fourth or fifth domain of warfare, right? So this is you're doing service at the nation state level, right? So it's rewarding, it's contributing to the nation that you're a resident of. But as I said earlier, the challenge is what keeps us going. This.
Karim, do you agree, or do you have another perspective on what excites you about the world of OT?
Obviously, I agree with what Saqib mentioned. I would just top up and have from my own perspective, using the power of AI to make the life of Faisal team and any cyber SOC life much easier because the volume of attack increase, millions and millions of attacks every year. They are more and more advanced. So to be able to stop or kill this cat and mouse game, you must make sure to have top-notch technology because it's no longer a human scale problem. You really need to have solution using AI to make sure that you will be able to detect, investigate, and respond in the first place. Obviously, the key milestone is the detection. If I may share a bit of explanation and challenge to Faisal. In the past and in my past, I was a CISO myself. So if we were able to detect something fast, it was good. But it's not good enough in 2025. Why? Because if you detect something, and from a response and mitigation, as Faisal mentioned, point of view, the only way to stop the attack is to stop your production. The response to the incident would create more issue or financial losses than the incident itself. And this is why I'm very excited in this world and obviously in the AI era to make the society safe.
Thank you, Faisal.
Well, beside what, or I have my personal view here is one of the passionate on this domain is, I think is one of the domain that preventing us sleeping at night, I believe, right? So beside that, this domain is, it's for me, I consider it's like an education domain. I'm from the end user point of view. When I see that, how I can stay ahead of the curve, always I need to think out of the box. And how I think out of the box, of course, I need to calibrate more with Karim. He's from the OEM point of view, from the service provider point of view. I need to share openly once that trust relationship is built. What's my pain? What aspect is preventing me from sleeping? That because I want him to also to to have a nice sleep, right? I want him to also to suffer with me, of course. So that's a collaboration, building that relationship between the end user and the service provider or OEM. That it's a community within the industry. So this is where you feel the beauty of this OT domain.
Because cyber knows no boundaries. There are no geopolitical boundaries. And this is a challenge which cannot be dealt alone. It's partnerships between trusted partners, clients, and also public and private partnerships.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is something that I wanted to touch on, if you would, Faisal. How important is that collaboration between government, the public sector, and international bodies as well in securing OT?
I will call it that all of them in the one ecosystem. So from the government point of view, if they are a policy maker, right, and if their policy is agility enough, then it will enable me to have a strong relationship with my OEM. Now, if the OEM, they also can feel that trust relationship is established with the end user, then their CTO, he could also make all the cybersecurity aspect within the design. Because trust me, in the OT side, the design or the baseline design may be 5-year-old. You will never see the design from the OT, it's up to date. You will not. So how that you will secure it from the maybe design, secure by design, by having that collaboration between the end user and the OEM. What will enable me is the policy maker, is the supply chain. Do I have that agility on the communication with this kind of ecosystem? Then the supply chain, for example, supply chain will take the crucial role in this area. Again, in my personal view, if I have a contract with Karim, for example, the contract is a vehicle only to establish the commercial. But again, the business add value, the collaboration, the lesson learned, sharing the lesson learned to help him in his business and to help me to have a nice sleep at night. That's an important of that collaboration.
Thank you so much.
And just a point, Basil, what Faisal mentioned, this is why I'm setting the best speedo and mattress in the city to make sure that you will sleep.
Okay. Thank you all so much for that interesting deep dive into the world of OT. Now, before we finish, we're going to play a game of suspect or secure. Now, all I'm going to do is throw a quirky scenario at you, and you have to shout out, are they a suspect scenario or are they a secure scenario? And the first one to shout out will win a point. We've got 7, so hopefully we'll find a winner here. Okay, ready?
Yep.
Okay, first one. A factory still running on Windows XP control systems, is that suspect?
Suspect.
Secure.
Does anyone want to build on their answers there? No, correct.
Yeah, I would say suspect for sure. It's no longer covered by any maintenances or patches.
So it's a double-edged sword, right? So just like there are no more upgrades available for XP, there are hardly any exploits that are letting around. You can have blue screen. Exactly. A blue screen operational, yeah. But it's a double-edged sword.
Okay, clear point to Karim. Second one. An oil refinery that just installed biometric access controls on their OT systems.
Suspect. Suspect secure.
Tell me more.
And in the all-hand field, you need the inline, or not inline, but they call it the better way is you need to have that direct access to that component in order not to introduce any negative impact to those components. So implementing the biometric, it may create some delay on
Yes, we don't
access.
know the background. We don't know if they follow the best practices or that. That's a tricky question.
Yeah, it is.
So reason why reason why I said we don't know what is the background behind the question. Following best practices for me is secure because it's a new layer of security and we can limit the insider issue on non-right access attempts, but we don't know the background. So it could be both answers.
Okay, third one. A water treatment plant that's using AI-driven threat detection.
Secure.
I'm not sure who got in there first. I heard Karim the loudest, but I saw you all answer at the same time.
It's on mic.
Okay. A power grid operator who proudly says, we've never been hacked, so we don't really need to invest in more security.
Yes.
Faisal, you got in there first. Okay. A smart port that conducts joint cyber drills with national defence agencies twice a year.
Secured.
Secure.
Secure.
Okay. But Faisal, I heard you loudly again there. I think your voice is just really loud. You guys are on a par now.
Yeah.
An offshore rig where OT and IT teams never talk to each other.
Suspect.
I will give you.
Saqib, yeah, come on. Yeah. Okay, and finally, a hospital where the IT team ignored system update and patches for months.
Secured. Secure.
They ignored it?
They ignore the patch.
Yeah, because again, the scenario here is about the health industry, and of course, in the health industry, you want this kind of system to be up and running. It's all
From a
interconnected.
production point of view, because they don't have the windows to manage the patching, but we don't know if it's IoT. If you don't manage that properly,
We
that's the cyber issue. We don't know the backend.
I'm enjoying the debate very much. I think we'll call that a tie because you all did fantastically well. Thank you all so much for joining us today. We really, really appreciate your insights and your understanding. This conversation really does highlight how essential it is to secure the systems we all rely on every single day, even without realizing it. So if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and follow the podcast, and we'll see you next time.